Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Hawk here for Howie's Market, and let me tell you, there is no greater endorsement than a true, honest, authentic, personal endorsement, and here is what I am talking about. Thanksgiving is just a few weeks away, and I have said on the podcast that I am making the change from turkey to ham this year, and my mother-in-law has put me in charge of taking care of that. So what did I do? I called up my friends at Howie's Market and made the most simple and easy order ever. All I had to do was tell the person on the other end of the phone in the meat department that I need a ham to feed 6 to 8 people. And just like that, my order is in, and I'm going to pick it up 2 days before Thanksgiving, store it in the fridge, and be the hero of the holiday this year. Howie's Market makes it so easy. If you need a ham, a turkey, gravy, prime rib, or any of the sides for your holiday, call Howie's Market right now and they will get you taken care of. That's what I did, and I know I can trust Howie's, the best butcher in Los Angeles, to take care of my Thanksgiving needs. I was on the phone with the owners earlier today, and they were raving about the homemade apricot glaze that goes over their ham. A ham that comes from a company that they've been working with for 40 plus years. 626-286-6767. Call them today. Tell them Nation Golf sent you for Thanksgiving. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fellowship. My name is Adam Road Dog Hawk, and back from a private round-trip boat ride to Catalina Island, he is Ryan Let the Good Times Roll Engle. Together, we own and operate the Nation Golf Company, and we are currently running the world's greatest and stupidest Black Friday sale. So as soon as you are done listening to this iPod broadcast, head on over to nationgolf.com and plunder the goods. Imagine a luxury clothing brand doing some sort of going out of business garage sale. That's what our website looks like right now. You do not need a code. Everything is marked down, so go take a look, stock up, whether it's for you or someone on your holiday list. Now is the time to take advantage of two absolute morons. And with that, I welcome in the only man in the world who willingly goes from a water park to Hawaii to Disneyland to Catalina all in 30 days and won't stop complaining about his comatose bank account. Here he is, folks. Ryan, let the good times roll, and they better never, ever stop. Engle, how are you, sir?
Well, it's hard to be here, Veterans Day. And
are you a veteran?
Well, one of the two vessels this weekend, one of the vessels stayed there to enjoy the fine weather in Catalina today, and I can't help but think, wow, one more night. Would have been nice.
You could have used one more night.
Yeah, well, like I said, weekends, they're too short.
Yeah.
They're too short. Everyone knows it. Henry Ford is a dick. That's just the way it is. But Black Friday, I think it's just a perfect reflection of where we are in society, that brands like ours are basically strong-armed into having this stupid sale for a month fucking long. Remember when Black Friday was like, you're sitting there with the toothpick by the fire post-Thanksgiving dinner, and you're going, have you heard about all those yahoos standing in line overnight at Best Buy to get the one-day sale? Can we go back to that, where it's like optional, like if you want to do it, you got to go pitch a fucking tent somewhere? All these keyboard warriors now get every discount in the world for 30 days. They might as well make Black Friday all of quarter 4. Well, look what's happened. It goes from 1 day to 30. What's next?
I feel like I'm center court at a tennis match in which you are playing yourself. I'm just getting ragdolled around topic to topic. So there was a vessel, which I'm assuming you mean a boat.
You don't want to say yacht because that's douchey. That's like, oh, I was on a yacht. But if you say boat, that's like, so what? You're out there on the kelp patties in your Boston Whaler dropping line? That's a boat. When you say vessel, it's like, really?
Really?
Okay, so you went to Catalina on a vessel, one vessel stayed
Nice
behind
vessel.
for Veterans Day. And then you had this Black Friday take about the good old days of not having to participate if you didn't want to. I do remember those days. Those days were fantastic. Now,
They were fantastic.
every brand because we live in the e-commerce world. Thank you, Jeff Bezos. We have to jockey for position and get in front of people earlier than other brands. And so everyone is racing to be the first to go on sale. And instead of Black Friday the day, you have Black Friday the month. And everyone in October knows it's coming in November, so they sit out October. Might as well just chalk up October to never happened sales-wise.
Yeah.
Because everyone's waiting till November. But hey, take advantage of the situation, folks. Head on over to nationgolf.com. The entire website is on sale, and you do not need a code. Back to your weekend in Catalina. My wife, Mina, that's Mina with an M for those people who hear it once and call her Nina with an N for the rest of her life. Mina said to me after seeing that you were over on Catalina Island, hey, how come you guys always tell the listening audience that you're best friends, but he never invites you anywhere? And I said, honey, that's a great question. I will ask him on Monday. So to my wife's question of how come you guys always say you're best friends, but Ryan never invites you anywhere, I'll let you have the floor first.
I invite you lots of places.
Really?
But then I get 2 kids and my wife's at home. And, Captain Excuse over here. Once the invites start going unresponded. And by the way, Mina, I think I sent you guys both a text invite with a really nice paragraph that was never responded to. So, there is that. I've come up with multiple concocted plans for you guys to come down here before and after certain nation events to put you up in hotels and hang out and shit. But yeah, right on. Wasn't my vessel, 1, and 2, Hawk never fucking can say yes. And even if he did, how pissed would Mina be if Hawk was on the vessel with me this weekend and she was at home with the kids? One thing I learned this weekend was it's nice to be reminded how vast and just absolutely incredible and large and just full of life the ocean is. It's just incredible.
Yeah, you said that when you got back from Hawaii no less than 28 days ago. You did just win the argument in a 10-8 knockout round for why I wasn't with you this weekend. And I knew that you would because it is true. In reality, we do spend enough time together during the week. Besides my own family, I see you more than anyone else. We have a great time at work. We play golf together when we can. We've got the powwow, the Nation Desert Classic, our live shows, our parties. So we hang out plenty. But we've said it before on the show, we don't really hang out on the weekends because we live 38 miles apart and you don't leave your bubble. You're on record saying that you need a passport to go north of Irvine, and you've accused me of living in Riverside, a city that is only 10 minutes closer to Fullerton than it is to San Juan Capistrano. You are also one of the guys who lives by this creed. I'm down for anything as long as it was my idea and it's on my schedule.
Not true. This weekend wasn't my idea. We got invited to something.
Is that right?
Really? Yeah. It was wonderful, by the way. Thank you for asking.
Talking to the mic, if you wouldn't mind. That's what it's there for.
Hawk, the sound doesn't have to be perfect.
But you're always saying, before we roll, how come you sound better than me?
That's a joke.
You aim the mic at the ceiling and then you talk 3 feet under it.
God, dude, this guy. What do you want from me? I'm just trying to go on vacation as much as possible, okay?
Okay.
I dared you yesterday in our text message exchange.
I laughed out loud.
I said, I dare you to prep your Catalina take. And you wrote back, prep. So it's that time of the show where I'm going to ask you, how was your trip to Catalina Island? I want the listener to be totally brought up to speed here, folks. Catalina Island is right off the coast.
It's 26 miles across the sea.
26 miles across the Pacific Ocean. It's a great island. It's got a little town called Avalon. We used to take the Nation Derby there every year until we moved it to Indian Wells Country Club this past year. We will briefly touch on why we don't have the Derby on Catalina Island anymore. But you joined our great friend, Steve Taylor.
Big Steve.
Rest in peace.
Big Steve Taylor.
On his boat, and you got a private round-trip boat ride.
We actually got the star treatment, and the 2 vessels that were mooried out there, the big boats, that's what everyone was staying on because those are the yachts. Steve and Mary, their family has like a smaller, somewhat of a speedboat. So the big boats go out early. It takes them 3 or 4 hours to get there, because they go at like 12 knots or whatever. And we just kind of like worked a half day, loaded up some brews on the boat, and zipped out there in an hour and just showed up, docked the thing, and jumped on the yacht. And I kept looking over my shoulder. I was like, I wonder if fucking P. Diddy's here. And then I was like, oh, he's in jail. That's right, When you're doing a trip like that, obviously it's a blessing to be a part of any fleet like that. And staying in the harbor on the boat, it's a whole different experience in comparison to like the hotel thing, like when we were doing the tournaments, because you're not going to sit in your hotel all day. It forces you to get out, and then you're just kind of stuck on that main drag the whole time. You go through the loop enough times that you're like, all right, now what? Whereas when you're on the boat, it's like we're jumping off, cold plunging in the morning when we're hungover, we're fishing off the side, we're kind of lounging on the deck, we're making food there. It's kind of like more of a family living room atmosphere kind of vibe, but you're on the thing and the view off the back of the boat, just looking, at the sun over the mountain in the little town that, you squint your eyes, you're like, that could be Europe. It was great. But when you're part of a fleet and doing a trip like that, the main thing about it, the only thing that levels it up and makes it extra memorable is the weather. And we had calm seas, glassy conditions, and sunshine. So that makes for not only an easy boat ride over, real smooth, but when you're docked up all night, the boat's not moving unless you want to move it.
What does that mean?
Well, if the boat comes a rocking, don't come a knocking. It was great. I haven't stayed on a boat in the harbor there in Avalon since I was a little kid. TK, my grandpa, his brother, we called him Uncle Maury. He had a boat, and we would go over there with him all the time, and that was always just such a blast. You get to drive the dinghy and shit and, like, fish and jump in the water and go to the arcade in town. We have a lot of family history there, and some of it was, part of my childhood, like I just mentioned. But the other thing was my real grandpa, Grandpa Engle, Bob Engle, my dad's real dad. He played AAA baseball for the Long Beach, I can't remember the name, but they were the team that played the Cubs in spring training over there. So, way back in the day when he was a ball player, he was over there hanging out with the Cubbies every spring and playing baseball and hanging out at the casino, and I'm sure that was a freaking wild time.
Absolutely.
And playing that golf course. I'd love to get the Derby back there because the course isn't great as far as like conditions go. Visually, it's incredible, and it's just a fun little thing. And executive 9-hole tracks are perfect for horse races, being that it's kind of like our little Des by the Sea and part of the whole story of the brand and history of the family. I think it'd be great to get back there and do it. And I don't know, maybe next year might be enough time to heal glass, as they say in the business.
Do they?
They do now.
I've never heard that. Heal glass.
Well, I'm talking about the glass that we allegedly broke in Catalina. Just want to shout out our two dear friends. One, our nation stalwart, the Captain Bryce Peters of the shoreboat in Catalina. Saw him, gave him a big bear hug. Always great to see him. He's a huge supporter, great guy. He's been at the Classic for years now, and obviously the Derby when we were over there. And then we hung out with the mayor and his wife, the mayor of Avalon, Johnny Q. It's just nice when you spent so much time at a certain place and you get to know some of the locals and you get to see them when they're doing their thing. And fuck, we had so much fun. Katie Kai and I were on our way back, calm seas again. We got in right at sunset in Dana Point Harbor, and we were just like, fuck, that was such a wonderful weekend. I go, well, yeah, babe. Standing on a fucking yacht with everybody feeding us all weekend was pretty nice. Nothing to really gripe about,
Yeah.
Yeah, great times. Thank you for asking.
I watch a lot of Below Deck, which is about life at sea, and the show concentrates a lot on the captain of the ship. And depending on what season you're watching, it could be Captain Lee, it could be Captain Sandy, it could be Captain Jason. Let's talk about Captain Steve Taylor. How is Steve Taylor as a mariner, a seaman, a captain, the pilot of the ship?
He piloted the small boat that we zip over in.
And how'd he do?
He did good. But, this thing's got GPS. It'd be like saying, my wife's a pretty good driver, but she just uses Apple Maps everywhere she goes. And it's like, okay, well, what if the system was down and it was foggy? Could you get us there? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a modern boat. Pretty easy to drive, but he did do a really good job. It's the bigger boats that take a lot more skill. Tying them up, getting them on the mooring, getting the sand line, both ends. And when shit goes south, you're down in the engine room and flicking things on. Watching Phil and Nathan both captain their ships, even when the ship's at bay, you're constantly, as we say, tinkering on them. It takes a lot, which is why those boats on those shows, they have such a big crew, is because you are always working. But yeah, Steve did good.
Steve did well.
He kind of blew it on the way in. It was his time to kind of show off his docking skills in front of us because no one saw him dock when we got there because he dropped us off on the yachts, and he didn't time the current well, and but he did all right. I'd give him a B plus. Give him a B plus.
Nobody has a penchant for returning to the scene of the crime quite like you, whether it be Disneyland, where you once disembarked the vessel during Pirates of the Caribbean to steal some glued down booty, where you wound up in Disneyland jail, or going back to Catalina Island to play golf at the golf course where the Nation Golf Company was unceremoniously blamed for breaking the windshield of a car just below the first tee box during the last derby that we had, creating so much awkwardness that we haven't been back since. You did go play golf there this weekend. Did anybody recognize you, and what was it like going back to that golf course? Were you nervous?
No, not at all. No one recognized me, but I didn't do anything wrong. So what the fuck should I be nervous about?
Glad that you had a good time playing golf. No one recognized you. Did you play your wife's clubs?
I did.
How'd it go?
Actually, not as good as I thought. And I think because I've hit her clubs a lot at the driving range when we go there and hang out, because they're short and kind of flexy and light, they want to draw a lot if you're really following through. I knew that, and there are quite a few tight shots there. Definitely a lot of trouble on the left. I think I found myself just holding them off because I didn't want to whip it through. They hit great. I think I was 3 over, which with those greens wasn't horrible because it's like fucking...
Planko.
Dude, it's like Lord of the Rings. Is there a hobbit that's going to come out of this fucking hole? But, God, if that place was pure, conditions-wise, grass, turf, it'd be pretty special because it's beautiful back there.
Yeah.
The sand trap afterward, just getting some margs and $2 tacos, it's kind of the best lunch in town. Bang for the buck wise, because everywhere gouges you there. When you're on front row in Avalon, it's like a sports arena. Gotcha, bitch. There's a tourism tax there.
Right. Where are you going to go?
Yeah, but Sand Trap's back in the thing. It's mostly locals and just people playing the course, and great little spot. If you're ever there, you don't need a full set. Just play it as it lies, see what happens, and head on over to the Sand Trap. Great spot.
Glad that you had a wonderful weekend over in Catalina. For me, I am back from a 5-day road trip that took me up to Monterey and then back to Los Angeles for a truly lovely groundbreaking event at Maggie Hathaway Golf Course, which I will get to in just a second. But I do want to acknowledge some of the comments that I received after last week's episode. If you heard it, you'll remember that it was recorded at 6:30 in the morning. I was in a hotel room, and I was coming off of drinking 14 scotches the night before in a time in my life where I haven't touched alcohol or carbs in 90 days. So I was medically diagnosed as shithoused. And I woke up, did a podcast with Ryan Engle in which I sounded like death warmed over. I've listened to it. It's not great. So I agree with the people who have said the following. My brother Aaron said, quote, "Dude, you sound like you were lobotomized." Our good buddy Jason Nibel said, quote, "I thought I had accidentally clicked the half-speed button when I was listening."
Oh, my God, dude.
Matthew Shadbolt said, "I sounded like absolute dog shit." And Chris S. on Instagram made fun of how much I was patting myself on the back for showing up and doing the show. Quote, "Hawk, you're a warrior. I mean, I've landscaped in 100-degree weather in July totally hungover, but you did a podcast. What a warrior."
Yeah, great point. Come on, let's be honest. Let's keep it 100, as the kids say these days.
Chris, if I don't give myself respect, no one will. Anyway, good to be back in the studio and good to be sounding bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Very quick recap of the week for me. Last Sunday, I grabbed a flight out of LAX up to Monterey for a 3-day golf administrators conference. And I want to pause right here because it is not lost on me how many people listening right now must think that it is a sick joke that I am in golf administration.
Well, you do know that you've become a above-average player by way of the handicap index system, so there's that.
Yes, there is that. The flight up to Monterey was the best of my life. It was one of the smaller planes where there are only 2 seats per row instead of 3. And the moment we reached cruising altitude out of LAX, the pilot got on the intercom and said that we were now beginning our descent into Monterey.
Well, now that makes sense. I was going to say, yep, that's a good flight.
It was great. And then we landed in the smallest airport ever. And I'm not exaggerating here. There are 5 gates total, and the plane lands 20 feet from the parking lot. I was off the bird in 2 minutes flat and into the hotel immediately. Everyone knows how Sunday night went, except me, because I don't remember much of it. But I will tell you this. After we tracked our podcast Monday morning, I walked down to the ballroom where the conference was taking place. My eyes are yellow and red. I look like a snake with jaundice. My head is pounding out of my ears. I'm dizzy and nauseous. I don't want to see anyone, let alone 300 people. I enter the conference hall, and to my delight, I don't see anyone. Am I early? What's going on here? Is it canceled? Am I in the wrong place? Please let it be canceled. I figure I might as well take my seat because all I want to do is sit down and close my eyes. So I open the door to the main ballroom. Loudly, I might add.
Of course you did.
And 300 people that I was not expecting to see turn their heads and look back at me as a speaker is on stage some 50 feet away holding court. I thought the conference started at 8:15. It started at 8. All my coworkers see me. They give me the look of, wow, I can't believe he's alive, and wow, what a moron. My boss waves me over to a table where he had saved me a seat, and now I have to walk through 100 different people just to get there.
I would have paid to see all of that.
If you're listening to this right now and you work in a typical corporate American office, you yourself have sat through a lot of PowerPoint presentations. Have you ever sat through one for an hour that you were late for next to your boss in silence during your worst hangover ever, wondering how badly you embarrassed yourself the night before because you can't remember anything? That was my Monday morning. The worst part is, once the presentation ended, the day actually just began. It was now 9 a.m. and I had 7 more hours of conferencing to do. Every time someone tried talking to me that day, I would start to respond. The words would come out. I had no idea what I was saying, and then I would just stop cold in the middle of my sentences and couldn't finish them. It was horrible. And after day 1, I had to attend a very prominent dinner to watch someone close to the SCGA receive a very prestigious service award. At 9 p.m. that night, 12 hours into my nightmare, the Lord God finally lifted his boot off of my throat. Dinner was over. So were the obligations. So I hobbled back to my hotel room and went straight to bed. Only one problem, Engle. The entire day I forgot to check in with my wife at all, who was home alone with 2 kids for the second straight day, and the last time she had heard from me was the night before.
I love you, babe.
In a drunken FaceTime call that I don't remember making. Tuesday was the exact opposite of Monday. My eyes were finally white again. I woke up at 5 in the morning, went to the hotel fitness center. A lot of golf bros in that gym early. A lot of quarter zips on the treadmill.
God, dude.
Got to the conference early, caught up on work, conferenced my ass off. I was a good lad. But things got weird. Around 4 p.m., I left my hotel because I wanted to get off campus and see Monterey, a town that I love, that I hadn't been to in half a decade. So I decided to take a 6-mile round-trip walk from my hotel room to the aquarium, a walk that passed through the beach, the Fisherman's Wharf, and Cannery Row. Shout out to Craig Dunlap, the world's biggest John Steinbeck fan, who took exception to my list last week, in which I named the most famous 5 things in Monterey, omitted John Steinbeck, and did not hear the end of it from Craig. Anyway, a damn long walk, but a damn good one. I get back. The polls are just closing on the East Coast for the 2024 presidential election. I turn on the coverage. 2 minutes later, the power goes out at the hotel. Completely out. And this hotel is the size of a small city. And since we're in Monterey and I have T-Mobile, which you have said is one step above Cricket.
It's pretty boost mobily.
Because I have T-Mobile in Monterey, I don't have service. So now I have no power, no TV, no internet, no texting, no computer, nothing. Peak dinner time, peak election coverage time, and all of a sudden I'm in the 1800s. Luckily, the room phones were still working, so I call the front desk. I get connected with my dude, Jason Nibel, who's in another room. He finds a place up the road where the power is on. And mind you that the power was out in all of Monterey, not just our hotel. So we had to drive up the road for dinner. I get changed and ready by cell phone flashlight in my room. Get out of the room. Can't even see my hand in front of my face. It's that dark. 50 degrees outside, which in Monterey feels like negative 50. That place does cold like no place on earth. And it's the weirdest cold ever. It gets you in your bones. Somehow Nibel and I find each other, get in his car. Luckily, he had his car because he had driven up from L.A. He takes us to this bar and grill that he found, and I've got 4 words for you, Engle. Surf, turf, Miller Lite. Ribeye and shrimp and a couple of cold Miller lattes. Best meal of the week and the best time spent of the week. So we get back to the hotel, still no power, still can't see, still can't tap into the outside world. It's 9 p.m., and I'm one of probably just a few thousand people in the entire country who have no idea what's happening with the election. And I've got no choice but to go to bed. It's pitch dark and nothing works. I can't see anything. So I knock out. 5 hours later at 2 in the morning, my room lights up like a damn dentist office. Because when the power went out originally, I had every light on. So now I have to get out of bed, all confused on where I am and what time it is. Turn off all the lights at 2 in the morning. My phone has 10,000 notifications. I look for the one that matters and see that Donald Trump absolutely curb-stomped Kamala Harris.
And I love women.
And I love women.
Back to sleep. Wake up Wednesday, getaway day, do some work at the hotel, check out around lunchtime, get to the airport, fly back to LAX, get my car from the parking lot, drive to the next hotel just down the road from the airport, check in, go straight to the hotel gym because I am hell-bent on being less fat than you, and then off to dinner at the hotel. And it's at this point that I want to double down on reiterating my dream of being a professional road dog. You know me. You know that I love the road. I love hotel life. I love traveling. I love going from one spot to the next without going home. I love living out of a bag. I love checking in and checking out. I love eating meals alone. And I especially love doing it on a company card. I just freaking love the road. I don't love it as much as I love my family, but if I was single and this was another life, I would be a professional road dog. Probably by way of being a professional tour caddy.
Maybe.
And
by the way, you got Steinbeck off the list. You put Reese Witherspoon ahead of Craig's boy, the Steinman. Unbelievable. Had I known he was from Monterey, I would have roasted your ass for that.
Technically, he's from Salinas, which is not Monterey, so Craig and I are still debating it over cellular telephone.
Okay.
Thursday morning, I went over to Maggie Hathaway Golf Course for a groundbreaking ceremony. This inner-city par 3 received a $20 million gift for a rejuvenation, which is incredibly cool, and it's a project that I've been working on with dozens and dozens and dozens of other people and parties for 18 months now. So this was great to see some shovels finally get in the dirt. 250 people attended the groundbreaking, including Colin Morikawa, USGA CEO Mike Wan, world-renowned architect Gil Hance, who I called Dan to his face, and a bunch of elected officials, and Will Ferrell, who I met and had a one-on-one conversation with for 10 minutes and snagged a photo. I noticed Will Ferrell standing in the back by himself, went over, said hello, had a great conversation, and at the end of the conversation I said, Will, I never, ever do this. It's one of the lamest things anyone can do, but can I please get a picture with you because no one's going to believe me if I don't. So I did, sent it to my wife. You had to do it, and I did it.
Worldwide.
So lots of media, local news, Sports Illustrated, 4 Magazine.
I thought Sports Illustrated was out of business from Chat GPT.
I think they fired the robots and went back to human beings.
Wow.
But it was a big, big deal, and it was cool to be a part of it and to help plan it and to run the media side of things at the Maggie Hathaway groundbreaking, a place in which I have my one and only hole-in-one.
Yeah, there's that. Did you go back to the scene of the crime and pat that mat on the back? Thanks for helping me hole out this drop kick, fucking rebound, impact pitching wedge.
I think part of the $20 million rejuvenation.
No more mats?
No more mats.
I'm sure there's still mats there today, but
There are.
eventually there won't be.
They should give me that mat.
Yeah.
Thursday night was the first night I'd slept in my own bed in 5 days. I get to Nation bright and early the next day, Friday morning. I am dead-ass tired because everything is catching up with me. And then Ryan Engle comes in 20 minutes after and says to Justin Jung and I, "Boys, I know we plan on starting Black Friday on Monday, but actually we start now, so get to it." I was dragging dick, and Engle comes in and says, "Everything is moved up by 3 days. Get to work."
And how do you feel about that decision now?
Great decision, and now we've got some money in the bank, so nice job. I had a hell of a weekend, too. I took my kids to the driving range on Saturday, church with the family on Sunday, but I actually want to talk about Friday. And in honor of my all-time favorite boss, Mr. Fred Rogan, the Dean of LA Sports, I would like to reprise one of our sports radio bits from the LA Afternoon Drive show we worked on together back in 2012. And I would like to open the confessional. So here I go, folks. I'm stepping into the confessional to confess. And Engle, I think you're going to like this.
Okay.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been 37 years since my last confession, and that's because I'm not Catholic, and I've always skipped asking mortal men for my forgiveness and gone straight to the divine, heavenly source. But to each their own, and I digress. I have committed the sin of hypocrisy at the highest level, and I have broken a commandment as I have bared false testimony. On Friday evening, on a post-dinner stroll through my wife's own personal heaven, a place known as Target, I gave in to an unresistible temptation. You see, Father, my 2 young children wanted to visit the Christmas section to pick out an ornament for the tree, which I have always said does not go up a day before Thanksgiving. But Father, when I turned the corner into the Christmas section, I saw something akin to what the 3 wise men must have seen when the angels guided them to Bethlehem. It was a beacon of light, Father, so compelling that I fell under its commercial spell. It was a 7.5-foot tall, snow-flocked, artificial Christmas tree with white string lights and the most realistic Douglas fir limbs you've ever seen. And it was on sale, Father. 7 days ago, I told this audience that Christmas doesn't start until the day after Thanksgiving and that no one should be decorating right now. Well, Father, I must confess, as of this weekend, there is a magnificent tree in my living room an entire 21 days before it should be. I am a liar and a hypocrite, and I seek forgiveness.
I don't know what to say other than, where the fuck is old reliable now? Just going to leave him up in the rafters to die? You're going to send him home, donate it to a family in need? What are you going to do with old reliable?
Folks, Engle is referring to my last artificial Christmas tree, in which I named Old Reliable. She always came out of the box perfect, and she's been up in our house for 7 years. Old Reliable resides in a tattered cardboard box in my garage, and Old Reliable's fate is really in jeopardy right now.
Let me ask you this. Have your 2 children ever experienced that late night drive to the lot under the lights, roaming around, picking one out, getting some hot cocoa, having a fellow countryman help strap a nice Douglas on the top of your buggy, get home, set it up, smell it, and vacuum up the needles and put the stuff out and fill the water and show your boy how to make the serum to make the water nice. Have they ever experienced that whole Christmas tradition of going and getting a tree with the family and bringing it home and smelling the pine? Has that ever happened?
No.
Wow. So they got to walk to a stale Walmart with red paint and look at a plastic tree and watch you pick it out and put the box in your cart, wheel it out to your buggy, and get your box cutter out when you get home and put it up. That was their experience?
Yes.
Wow.
And if you think they weren't excited, you're wrong. They're kids, man. Anything gets them excited.
Well, of course they're excited because they've never experienced the real thing. You're keeping it from them. You're like the fucking Wizard of Oz, man.
More importantly, how hypocritical am I?
Well, is anyone surprised?
I am. My wife was. My kids were. They said, Dad, you don't ever let us decorate until after Thanksgiving. And now there is a 7.5-foot tall Christmas tree.
Do you think it's because I put our tree up and it kind of grew on you a little bit?
I have to say that your take last week on Thanksgiving and Christmas blending over and crossing over in terms of feeling, timing, decor, because, quote, Christmas is not small enough for just 30 days. It's too big. It has to expand over 2 months. That permeated inside of my brain.
Yeah, Halloween's the wild card game. Thanksgiving is the division championship. Christmas and New Year's, that's the big stage. It's all part of it, man. Halloween's the benchmark. As much as I hate Halloween, it's like, oh, the good stuff's coming. So at least they put the shittiest one out in front. Thanksgiving's awesome, but everyone's thinking about Christmas at Thanksgiving. Everybody. You know you are. And so look at the kid. He's got some fresh plastic up in front of the TV, in front of the window. How do you see the TV with the tree in front of it?
Shut up.
You should put Old Reliable out in the front yard, like stake it in the ground.
We might become a 2 artificial Christmas tree house. My kids were asking for Old Reliable to come out and find some place in the home.
Never been a flocked guy.
Me neither. And by the way, the flock winds up all over the ground.
What the flock is this?
On Friday, that night that I bought the Christmas tree, we had gone out to dinner because I wanted to take my family out. I hadn't seen them in a while. I wanted to give my wife a break from all the bollocks she dealt with all week. After dinner, I suggested Yogurtland, so we were driving over there, and on the way, the kids say we need to go to the bathroom. So I go to Target because Target has great bathrooms, and Yogurtland doesn't. We go in and use the bathroom, and then my son Johnny says he wants to take a hot lap around the store. Those were his words.
He said hot lap?
Yeah.
Where did he get that from?
Me a year ago.
And where did you get that from?
I've always just heard that that's what you say when you want to go get the lay of the land.
You got that from me, you dumbass.
Did I?
Yes.
A hot lap?
Yes. That's the lingo, brother.
I'm a big hot lap guy.
Oh, it's all about the hot lap. But now I've retired hot lap because what they say in Hawaii is holo holo. Hey, you guys want to go get some dinner and then afterwards go holo holo around the harbor? And it's like, oh, for sure.
Did we just get canceled or are we good?
No, we're good.
All right.
It's pigeon. Little hot lap. Little Johnny hot lap.
Little Johnny
hot
hot
lap. So
lap.
what the fuck did he want to look at? You know, when a kid his age says hot lap, he's like, okay, we're going to act like we're interested walking around the shampoo and the kitchenware, and we're going to make a hard left and act like we're interested looking at the coffee makers. Now we're getting close. We're looking at the sports merchandise, and there's some outdoor furniture on the right, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, toy section.
Yep.
Let's take a fucking long look at this section, and you know what he was doing. That was his way of saying, Dad, let's go look at toys. But he knew you'd be like, oh, no, I'm grumpy. Fuck, no, we're not going over there. But he's like, Dad, you want to do a hot lap around here? And look at you. I bet your shooter guns are out, and you were just fucking freewheeling it down the middle of the aisle, dude.
I do love a hot lap after dinner. It's a great way to digest food, especially when you have dessert coming up next. So I agreed to the hot lap.
Little fart walk. Blame it on your kid. Johnny, what are you doing, man? Dad, that wasn't me.
That's the worst part is they never go along with it.
No.
The hot lap ended up lasting an hour, and we bought 2 sets of pajamas for the kids, we bought ornaments, and we bought that brand new giant fake Christmas tree. And when we were checking out, I leaned over and very simply said to the cashier, you know, we came in here to use the bathroom.
Wow.
That place just gets you.
Not me.
Good for you.
It gets my wife, so it's tied to me. But Target has no hold on me.
Good.
I don't know what it is about that place. I think the last time I went in there before our movie premiere, and I needed to find some fucking cable, and I mistakenly went there first. Said they had it on their website, walked around, you ask for help there, and they look like you're speaking another language. The display was snickle fritz. The cord wasn't there. They had no fucking idea what was going on. I walked out of there, and I was like, why the fuck did I even come here? Drove quarter mile down the hill to a great American business called Walmart. Guess who had the cord? They had 4 to choose from. And it was cheaper. And you self-checkout, you don't even talk to somebody. It was great. That was the last time I went to a Target. Can't stand that place.
Yeah. This was the most expensive bathroom run of my life. Let's do some YouTube comments.
YouTube.
From Maximilian6561. Boys, I loved the mental game talk on last week's episode. You both had outstanding points. Nothing like a Pete Dye golf course to teach us where to miss an approach shot, because there is typically only one good place to miss per hole. With that, I would love to hear your general thoughts on Pete Dye courses, as well as which of his would be your favorite. My top 2 are the Stadium course at PGA West and Trump National in Los Angeles. Do you have a favorite Pete Dye course, Engle?
Well, I'll tell you this, Hawk. I know what isn't my favorite Pete Dye course. PGA West Stadium. It's also the western home of Stucco in America. I think Palmer Private and Nick Private are pretty good tracks over there. You can have the rest of them. If you don't have a nuanced history or experience of the classic desert tracks, I could see how you would love PGA West, because it is desert conditions and the conditions are good out there and the course isn't bad. But in comparison to all of the historic tracks with charm and that signature look, it's definitely not it as far as I'm concerned. But I do love Trump National. I love the courses that are strategically laid out where you kind of don't run into or see people. You feel like a more intimate experience throughout the round, and just the way that goes back and forth on the hillside there. And obviously they have a couple just spectacular photogenic holes. I really loved that one. Other than that, not necessarily a huge Pete Dye fan. In fact, I was surprised to learn that he designed that course because it didn't feel like one of his. I had some buddies go, I can't remember what course it was, but they were on a bachelor party or something, and they played golf together one of the days, and it was a Pete Dye track. They were a bunch of surfers, so they're just fucking spitting balls left and right. They all started writing on their balls, "Fuck you, Pete Dye." So like when they would lose them, someone would find them and it says, "Fuck you, Pete Dye." It was then and there I knew that he wasn't my favorite course designer. Plus the frickin' TPC Sawgrass, pretty hokey. I don't need my golf courses to have that like fake waterfall in the outfield Anaheim Angels kind of vibe.
Sure. I don't have a favorite Pete Dye course either. I don't think I have played enough Pete Dye courses. The one that I have played, PGA West Stadium, I didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a reputation. His nickname is Pete Diabolical. He and Jack Nicklaus are known for really taking out their frustrations on amateur golfers, putting hidden bunkers in the middle of fairways that you can't see from the tee boxes. But to each their own. You're right that Pete Dye definitely tells you where to miss, and there's typically only one option. But I'm glad, Max, that you enjoyed that talk last week about how to get better at golf through playing it and not practicing it. I did enjoy that conversation as well. From the 9 to 5er, Hot Take is posting your I voted sticker, the equivalent of posting a picture of the temperature on your car dashboard.
Yep.
This is one of the greater YouTube comments we've ever received. During the heat wave over the summer in California, we did a take on guy who posts picture of the temperature outside from his car dashboard. One of the lamest, most repetitive posts you could ever do, as if we don't all have a weather app on our phone and as if we all can't feel how damn hot it is outside. But nevertheless, this person will always take that picture of how hot it is and put it on Instagram because it told them it's hot on their car dashboard.
Just putting the fucking sticker on your shirt.
Now you're talking about the I voted sticker.
Yeah, that's too far. We all know what day it is, dude. Politics sucks, dude.
Well, hang on. To me, it's not about politics. It's about participating in democracy, which...
No, it's not, because it's all masked. Everyone's fucking programmed like we've already talked about. They've all got their side. It's phony, dude.
The word you're looking for is performative.
It's performative.
Okay. I am going to disagree because...
Really?
Especially on a day like today, Veterans Day, where we are celebrating the fact that people, human beings, have put themselves in the line of fire for our freedom. And part of our freedom involves voting in a democratic republic. I don't mind the I voted stickers. I don't love them, but I don't mind them. If you want to go out and vote and spend your time doing it and let people know that you did it, more power to you. I do mind the dashboard photography of the temperature, though. From Scenic Route Hiking Boots. What a name. What a name. Hawk, you don't rule the Christmas schedule. Don't tell me how to live my life.
Love it. Great take.
It's especially a great take today because I broke my own rules.
Unreal.
And ended up having to go into a confessional box with a priest and lay out my hypocrisy and false testimony.
Lord, I'm a hypocrite.
That's it for YouTube comments, at least the ones that I want to read. Remember that if you want to get read on this show, you can listen wherever you want, Spotify, Apple, Google Play, YouTube. But the only place that we will get our comments from and bring them back on the show is YouTube. So regardless of where you listen, head on over to YouTube, find the episode that you're listening to, and leave your comment there, and you can hear yourself back on this show the following week. A reminder that Nation Golf is on a ridiculously crazy sale right now. NationGolf.com, everything marked down. You do not need a code. We are running that sale through December 3rd. Shout out to our friend Brian Vidal, who is going through some health-related maintenance, having to go through surgeries and lots of doctor's appointments. He texted us over the weekend saying how much this podcast is helping him get through a very difficult time in his life. We love Brian, and we're happy to afford him an hour of entertainment once a week, and we cannot wait till you are all better and back out on the golf course. Thank you for your support, Brian, and we are thinking about you, our friend. Also, mark your calendars, November 29th, the actual Black Friday this year, the day after Thanksgiving. We will be live on YouTube with a television show. Lots of fun, lots of giveaways.
And who could remember last year, the most annoying night of Adam's life?
I've blocked it out. I no longer think about it, and we will not make that mistake again. However, Nick Smith, a.k.a.
Dick Smith,
confirmed that he will be on site.
Dick Smith is back, folks.
He has confirmed that he will be on site to produce the show, which we are excited about. And for the third or fourth year in a row, Dick Smith will become the only person in the world to make money off of Nation Golf. As they say in the business, folks, the tradition continues.
You love to pay it.
You do.
And I love money.
And I love women.
Thank you so much for listening to the show this week. We will be back again on Monday to keep you company during this holiday season, and we will talk to you then.
So long for now.